models and actresses, and so you're definitely not the prettiest girl I've ever seen.
This is a true story. One of the worst things that a man has ever said to me about long hair.
She literally said to a girl that she was the ugliest girl in her.
What's the worst thing that a guy said to you that in his mind was a compliment? I'll go first.
They hate themselves and they're jealous of you. Yes, a man could be jealous of you.
I receive insults from him every now and then. Does he love me?
So I'm just going to share with you one of the meanest things that someone has ever said to me. Not the meanest, but definitely in my top 5.
Times when men have told me the truth when they should have really just shut the fuck up. And it gets progressively worse with each example. I took my friends with benefits home because he was vomiting and being sick, and I just tucked him into bed, and it was so late. I just slept over at his place. Nothing happened. And so I just put on one of his shirts. In the morning he wakes up, takes a look at me and says, "You really don't look good in my clothes." On a different occasion, he told me that I was not the type of girl he would take out on a date because, and I quote, he'd end up killing me then himself. Thanks for the warning. When I asked my ex if I was the prettiest girl he'd ever seen, because whatever, I just wanted to be adored for a second, he said, "No, because I know models and actresses, and so you're definitely not the prettiest girl I've ever seen. You don't want me to lie to you, do you?" So considerate. He didn't want to lie to me. When this said ex was breaking up with me, I said to him, "I don't understand. We just went to my sister's wedding where you just said you wanted to marry me, blah, blah." And he said, "Actually, it was there when I realized we couldn't be together anymore because..."
This is a true story. One of the worst things that a man has ever said to me about long hair. I have to share this story. I just can't. I've never forgotten it. This happened about 5 years ago. So I was 54, 55 years old. I was in New York City. We were at a cafe and I'm with a bunch of friends. Now we're all in our 50s. And I didn't know this guy. He showed up to have coffee with us. He sits down. He's 35, 40 years old. And we're all just gabbing away. We're talking. We're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, now, mind you, you guys, you all know, a lot of times my hair is pulled back in a ponytail. A lot of times it's pulled back in a bun. You can't really see the length of my hair. This day I had it pulled back in a tight bun because it was super hot. And my friends that I was with, they all had pretty short hair. We start talking. We weren't even, the funny thing is, I was so shocked. We weren't even talking about hair. This is what he says. We're just talking about random things. I don't know, fashion, things he all of a sudden, out of the blue, it's like he was, he looks at all of us and he says, it's so good that you all, at your age have shorter hair. And we were all stunned. I looked at him and I said, "What do you mean?" I didn't say anything yet about, he's thinking, "Oh my, he doesn't know what the length of my hair." And I said, what do you mean?" He says this. I'm not exaggerating. I promise you I'm not exaggerating. I've never forgotten it. He says this. "Well, the worst thing in the world," I'm thinking, the worst thing in the world. He says, "The worst thing in the world is when you're walking down the street and you see a woman with beautiful long hair. And then all of a sudden you get in front of her and you see that she's 45, 50 years old." I went, "What? That's the worst thing in the world? What?" He says, "Yeah, that's god awful." And he's sounding so disgusted by this. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh my goodness, couldn't you say that about anything? Couldn't you?" I happen to love long hair on a guy. I was so stunned. I was so stunned I couldn't say a word right then. I wanted to say, what if you're walking walking down the street and you see some guy with long curly hair and all of a sudden you get up in front of him and he's 70 or 80. So what? So what? I have never been so shocked. This guy, I thought, oh my God, the judgmental attitude, the worst. Ladies, let me know in the comments what you think. I have never heard anything like this. I've never heard anybody say anything like this. I think it's stupid. I'm doing this video, I don't know, just to get, what do you all think? It's a good thing I don't get offended easily. I just was so shocked by how disgusted he was by this. You all let me know. Let me know what you think. I'm sure in the comments you all are going to tell me exactly what you would have said at that point.
What's the worst thing that a guy said to you that in his mind was a compliment? I'll go first. So I was hanging out with this guy. It was like our second time hanging out. We had just started talking, and we were just sitting around talking about music, right? And then all of a sudden he goes, you know, I really like you. You're different. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I just wouldn't be able to have this conversation with any other girls. They're all just stupid. Buddy, listen, I'm sure every girl has the intellectual capacity to listen to you talk about Astroworld for 45 minutes. The difference is that they just didn't want to, and I feel like they are actually smarter than me because they were able to avoid this situation entirely.
I receive insults from him every now and then. Does he love me? I'm in a relationship of 3 years, but it's an abusive one. My boyfriend always insults me, saying I'm stupid, I don't have any sense, and many more. I've always endured the insult and apologized to him because most of the issues we have, I'm always at fault. He has trust issues and is always monitoring me, checking my phone and all. This guy gets angry over things that he's not meant to be angry about, like me talking to him on a phone call and attending to someone else. Anytime we have an argument, he's always saying we should end the relationship. He's no longer interested. He's loving, caring, and also good in bed. My question is, does this guy really love me like the way he claims to love me? Or is he just being protective about the relationship? You can share your opinion in the comment section.
If you ever come across a man who insults you, especially when you're dating, and he has the nerve to say something about your looks, about your personality, about anything, especially while you're dating, I want you to understand something very, very clear. This man is 100% projecting his own insecurities onto you because he is completely unhappy with himself, and he hates the fact that there are things about you that he envies and he really wants to be. When a man insults you, low-key, he's hating on you because he actually wants to be you. He wants whatever it is that you have. Maybe it's your magnetism that you have towards the world. Maybe it's the fact that you're just naturally gorgeous and get attention. And he has to kind of work a little bit harder for that. Maybe things come easier to you in life. You have better opportunities in the world, and he's mad about that because it's easy for you and not for him. Never take their insults personally, because I promise it is all a projection of how they feel deep down about themselves. If a man has to insult you while you're dating, that tells me everything that I need to know about this particular person. They're extremely insecure, they hate themselves, and they're jealous of you. Yes, a man could be jealous of you. Just know if they are hating on you and insulting you, you're probably doing the right thing by just being yourself and being quite literally amazing, that they can't handle it. If this man does insult you, I need you to leave immediately. You need to leave the situation immediately upon the first insult. Don't make excuses for him, okay? It's just gonna get worse. It's gonna get a million times worse. And you will find a way better person that's actually going to value the qualities that you have and not try to compete with you. There are men out there that actually want you to shine and are not threatened by how great you are. Do not settle for less. Do not settle for these dusties that are so intimidated by the great person that you are. Find your equal, or yeah, better yet, find a man that you're inspired by and that he's not threatened by you, because we are tired of doing charity work out here. We're so tired.
You want to know the most disgusting thing a man has ever admitted to me? I used to be really good friends with this guy, and one time he told me if he was out and saw a girl that he liked, he obviously would approach her, and right off the bat, he would just start insulting her. Tell her the outfit wasn't flattering, her makeup was trash. He literally said to a girl that she was the ugliest girl in her friend group. Yeah, this is the girl that he wants, he's talking to. And I want to know why. Also, if you're new here, you are chatting with Chisholm. This guy told me, depending on how a girl's self-esteem is set up, if you say things to rattle her confidence and make her feel insecure, she will feel she needs to come to you for her validation. Basically, he would go out of his way to make these girls feel like they weren't good enough. So the girl would then go out of her way to try and prove to him that she was. So after he would say these things, these girls would spend the rest of the night trying to get his attention, trying to make eye contact, or if they saw him out on a different night, they would approach him and be like, what do you think of my outfit tonight then? Think I look better than I did last week? They would be on their knees begging for this guy's approval, to the point where some of them would literally go home and sleep with him to try and prove to him that they're worth something. Because in their mind, they're thinking, well, I can't be the ugly one in the friend group because I'm the one he took home. Meanwhile, that was just his plan all along. scary. And if you thought that after hearing this firsthand from a man, I would be astute enough to recognize the signs and know better than to ever let it happen to me, you'd be wrong. Imagine I dated a guy that told me he prefers girls that are lean and look like they work out. Tell me why. The very next morning, I was on my hands and knees in my bedroom doing day one of the Clothing Summer Shred Workout Challenge, in the hopes that the next time I saw him, that I would look lean and look like I worked out. Listen, I don't want to hear it. I know I was dumb. But let me know if a guy has ever tried this on you, because I refuse to believe I'm the only dumb bee out here who's fallen for it. So tell the truth, shame the devil. Be honest. Anyways, girl, I'm gonna go, but I'll call you tomorrow for some more girl chat.
What are some of the worst things a boy has ever said to you that hurt your feelings? I'll go first. So I'm 15, I'm dealing with this boy. Now, mind you, me and this boy had basically grew up together, went to the same daycare, lived in the same building for a few years. Our parents were friends before that, you know, that whole thing. But it was long distance. I'm gonna spare you the details. He was dealing with me, and he also was dealing with some other girl from his school. Right now, I'm 15, so the thought of leave him is not in my head, because what you mean, like, yeah, I'm a child. We're on the phone one day. Me, him, and his brother's part of the conversation too, because I'm cool with the family, you know? I've known them since I was little, since I was babies. His brother's like defending me and like, you know, like the whole situation and things. And he tells him, you don't know how to treat a woman. Boy goes, you only say that because you don't know how I treat the other girl. My heart. Oh, it shattered. I cried on that phone. I cried. Then it was this other time when I was like 19. And with this boy, it's the first time I feel like I love somebody. We're going through it because everything was just perfect. And then he started getting real distant. He's like, you know, you deserve better. I need to treat you better. I need to do better. So one night we going back and forth through text message. And I'm telling him, I'm like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, I deserve better than this. I was like, you even said I deserve better than this. And he was like, all right, so bounce. This was I was like, wow. I don't even remember what I said to that, but I know I was hurt because, like, so bounce? Like, that's really how you feel? You just, looking back, I don't know if it's that those aren't that bad or I've just been through worse since then, but let me know what you think.
You guys really love my get ready with me story times. I should stop getting ready in a white shirt. But truthfully, some of the stories that I have are just not TikTok appropriate, so I can't spill all the tea. But here are some things that men have said to me over the years that have really stuck with me. Middle school was some of the absolute worst years of my life and probably where I endured the most bullying. In 6th grade, I had a crush on a boy and the entire grade found out, so all the popular boys in my grade started making fun of me for it. The girls were no better, they were also very much cruel, but the boys, that stuck with me. All of the boys started asking me out on dares, and it really bugged me because I knew it was for a dare. And then one bright and shiny day, this boy walks up to me with a whole entire group of his friends and says the most outlandish, out-of-pocket thing I've ever heard come out of a guy's mouth in my life. He walks up to me and says, you have a really nice body, but a really ugly face. A man once told me I wasn't pretty enough to date him because I had acne. During COVID, I had gained quite a bit of weight, and the chef at the restaurant I was working at pointed it out. Literally said, you look like you gained a lot of weight. A guy once told me that his mom didn't think I was pretty enough to date him. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of it. Those are like a couple of things that people have said to me over the years that just stuck with me. I remember them very clearly.
So I'm just going to share with you one of the meanest things that someone has ever said to me. Not the meanest, but definitely in my top 5. It was a few years back, probably at least like 7 or 8 years ago now. And I wasn't at my biggest, but I was at probably like 235, 240 pounds, which on my 5-foot stature is just, it's pretty big. And so I was also just coming out of a 7-year marriage, newly separated. It was a really tumultuous thing. And so I was already in a kind of poor mind state, not very good mind state at all. And I was young and making bad decisions and just the recipe for horrible things. And so anyways, I started talking to this guy a couple months into my separation, and we talked for a couple weeks, you know, just on the phone and stuff. And so we finally decided to hang out with each other. You know, everything was fine. It was good. There were no issues, nothing to relay to me that he was uncomfortable or anything. So we hung out, we hooked up, whatever, as young people tend to do. And then a couple weeks go by, I didn't hear anything from him. And again, I was already in a, you know, not the best mind state. So, excuse me. So I, you know, hit him up and I'm like, hey, where are you at? What's going on? And I wasn't trying to be like super pestering or anything. I was just, you know, trying to be like, you know, what's going on? And what he said to me was, I don't mind fucking you, but I'll be damned if I'm caught in public with a bleach bottle built ass bitch. Yeah, it hurt. For sure, that definitely hurt. It was the first time I'd ever heard that metaphor used. It definitely stung. It stung a lot. But to be devil's advocate here, and if this guy ever watches this video, and if he recognizes me, of course, I understand that he was in a super dark place. To give a little background on him and his situation, he had lost his child to a heart disease about a year previously to us meeting each other. And so I understand that he was probably in a way worse situation than I was. And at the moment, I did take what he said to heart, probably for good reason. I was very unhealthy, both physically and mentally. But I'm not angry with him anymore. I don't have any bad feelings towards him. I'm actually thankful, because that will always be something that stands out in my mind. I will always remember that feeling of realizing that I am, in fact, a bleach bottle built ass bitch. Well, not anymore, but you know, it hurt. But I hope that he is in a better place now, and I hope that he found some happiness, because I can't imagine what kind of dark place he must have been in back then, especially to lash out at a stranger. And I'm just really sorry that it all went the way it did. I wish it could have been a lot better and a little bit more civilized. But you know, no hard feelings. It is what it is, and I am happy that I've gotten the opportunity to grow. And you know, being a bigger girl dating versus being a fitter girl dating, there are a lot of stark differences, and I'll make another video about that in its own. But you know, if you're in that dark place and you're feeling a certain way about your body, don't let someone else's judgment of your physical appearance weigh on the worth of who you are as a human, you know, because they only see the outside. They're not seeing what those words do inside of you, okay? And you can be anything you want to be. And you don't have to be a bleach bottle built ass bitch, okay? I'm proof of that. But you also can be a bleach bottle built ass bitch, and nobody can take that from you if you don't want to let it go. The choice is all yours. Be happy, live beautifully, c'est la vie.
And that's how we come to the end of this video. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share this video. And if you have a story like this, feel free to share in the comment section down below. Till next time, love you, bye.